You have seen it happen. Someone you followed, someone whose work you respected, a creator, a thinker, a builder, someone who seemed to be everywhere, and then one morning, gone, accounts deleted, phone silent, circle cut, no announcement, no explanation, complete disappearance. The crowd has a word for this. They call it a breakdown, a mental collapse, burnout. They diagnose it from a distance with the comfortable certainty of people who have never built anything worth protecting. They are wrong. These people did not break. They made a calculation. They looked at what constant visibility was costing them, the fractured attention, the performance of relevance, the slow hemorrhage of mental capital into an audience that consumes without contributing. And they made the only rational decision available. They disappeared, not as retreat, as offensive strike. Nietzsche himself embodied this. His circle of intellectual interlocutors dramatically contracted. This biographical circumstance constituted a form of distance, not merely geographical, but spiritual, that would inform his developing thought. He did not call it isolation. He called it a requirement. Without that pathos of distance, which grows out of the ingrained difference between strata, the craving for an ever-widening of distances within the soul itself, the development of ever higher, rarer, more remote, further stretching, more comprehensive states, the enhancement of the type man is impossible. This is not a preference. It is a structural requirement. The higher mind cannot develop in proximity to the herd, not because the herd is evil, because proximity to the herd is a gravitational field, and gravity does not care about your intentions. Here is the mechanism nobody names precisely. Every interaction with low-value socialization, every performance of relevance for an audience that will forget you by tomorrow, costs something real, not time, not energy in the vague sense, cognitive independence, the specific capacity to think thoughts that have not been pre-approved by consensus, the pathos of distance, the permanent and dominant overall and basic feeling of a higher ruling species in relation to a lower species, deepens the contrast to everything that is perceived as mean, low, and rabble. When you eliminate that distance, when you make yourself constantly visible, constantly available, constantly responsive, you do not become more connected. You become more contaminated. The thoughts that arrive in silence, the clarity that comes after 3 days without a feed, the specific quality of a mind that has not been interrupted in 72 hours. That is what constant visibility destroys. And it destroys it so gradually that most people never identify what they have lost. Rule 1. Power accumulates in silence. Every unit of attention you spend performing your existence for external validation is a unit of attention you did not spend building the thing that would make validation irrelevant. The crowd does not generate power. It disperses it. Every comment you read, every metric you check, every response you compose to someone whose opinion will not matter in 5 years. This is the tax the herd levies on the sovereign mind. The most productive periods in the history of human achievement were not periods of maximum visibility. They were periods of maximum withdrawal. Silence is not absence. Silence is accumulation. Rule 2. Kill the noise vampires. Modern connectivity presents itself as a resource. It is a liability with a sophisticated marketing campaign. Every platform, every notification, every ambient social obligation is designed with one architectural principle: keep you present. Not present in the sense of focused and alive, present in the sense of available, logged in, generating data, maintaining the simulation with your attention as the raw material. The democratization of European culture had eliminated certain pathological extremes of hierarchy while simultaneously diminishing the conditions under which exceptional human achievement becomes possible. Translated: when everyone is equally visible, no one is exceptional. The platform needs your presence precisely because your presence dilutes you. A diluted mind is a manageable mind. Disappearing is not antisocial. It is the refusal to be managed. Rule 3. The strategic exile. Before Darwin published Years of Isolation, before Newton's Principia, 18 months alone in the countryside during plague, before Zarathustra, Nietzsche himself, alone on the mountain, writing for an audience that did not yet exist. The pattern is not coincidence. It is architecture. Genius does not emerge from collaboration. It emerges from the specific cognitive state that only extended solitude produces. The state in which the mind, deprived of external input, is forced to generate its own signal. Most people are so saturated with received thought, content consumed, opinions absorbed, values borrowed, that they have never heard their own mind operating at full capacity. Exile is not the price of greatness. It is the condition of it. The protocol is precise. 3 moves. First, go ghost on every connection that costs more than it produces. Not with drama, with silence. Silence is the only exit that requires no explanation and leaves no leverage in the hands of those you are leaving. Second, execute in complete secrecy. The project you are building does not need an audience during construction. Announcing a project before completion is the single most reliable way to drain the motivation required to complete it. The brain receives a portion of the reward from the announcement itself and reduces the drive to earn the actual thing. Go dark, build in private, emerge with results. Third, treat your attention as your highest asset, not your time, your attention. Time without directed attention is noise with a clock. Every person who has access to your attention has access to your direction. Audit that access with the same precision you would apply to any strategic resource. Remove what dilutes. Protect what builds. The craving for an ever-widening of distances within the soul itself. The development of ever higher, rarer, more remote states. This is the self-overcoming of man. The mountain is not a metaphor. It is the specific cognitive elevation that only distance produces. From that height, the herd does not disappear. It simply becomes visible for what it is. The baseline from which exceptional minds have always chosen to separate themselves. You have felt the urge to disappear. You have felt the specific exhaustion of constant visibility, the performance of relevance, the maintenance of presence, the slow erosion of something you cannot name but recognize as essential. That urge is not weakness. It is not social anxiety. It is not a symptom of something broken. It is the pathos of distance, the feeling of noble superiority that determines the position from which the higher mind creates its own values. The crowd will call your disappearance a breakdown. Let them. You will be on the mountain.